I was trying to win him over, saying that I have a child so that I know what's the matter. I told him that there's no need to try out anything, but...
They raped me.
So it's a striptease?
It's terrible. I don't know what's going to happen.
They gave us an explanation that we were there for prostitution.
I had to serve about 8 customers a day. I don't even want to count.
Hello, Strada.
I don't have much time. I've got your number.
Try to tell me, briefly, what's the matter?
I don't want to give my name, but I am now in Italy. I escaped for a moment to call. I need... How can I get out of here?
Well, this means...
But I'm terribly scared.
The best thing...
So be quick, quick.
The best thing is to go to the nearest police station. I can give you their phone number.
But I don't know the place at all. I don't know where to go.
You can call the Italian police emergency number. It is 113.
113.
It's their duty to help you. Or you may go to the Czech Republic embassy.
Where is it?
Our emergency line operates mainly as an information line. Women and girls call it when they're already in trouble. This means they have become victims of trafficking, or their problem is related to that in some way. A victim of female trafficking has no chance to decide freely whether she wants to or doesn't want to work in this field. She's got no income. And in most cases, she's also physically abused.
Trafficking in women is on the increase. The moment borders open up and there is a big demand somewhere, offers also increase. It is very interesting that we are not only a transit country, which means that women are transferred through us to Western Europe, but it is also a destination country. This means that women are trafficked here, and we are also a source country.
I was unemployed and looking for a job. I bought a newspaper and found that a personnel recruitment agency was looking for barmaids, waitresses and companions for its client company. I said to myself, this is a recruitment agency. This might be good. They offered 50,000 crowns a month. This was unusually high, but I thought this would include tips. Why not, after all? So I called them and agreed to an interview. Several girls were with me at that address, and they asked us whether we would be prepared to work abroad. I told them I had a small child at home, so that I probably couldn't. But I was also afraid of losing the job, so I agreed to go abroad from time to time. They said that they needed to write contracts for us and asked for our documents, and if we had passports. I gave them my passport. Meanwhile, they offered us refreshments, some juice. And the next thing I knew was when I woke up in Austria.
I would really like to be a singer.
I would like to be a model.
I would like to be an actress.
I would like to work abroad.
About 1 year ago, I met my former classmate in the street. He had a friend with him. His name was Joe. They invited me to a restaurant, and I told them that I was having a bad time. No money. I studied ballet at college, you know. But then I lost my job, and I had no money at all and did not know what to do. And that boy, Joe, said he might be able to help, and that he had some contacts in Czechia and some acquaintances in a theatre there. I had a feeling at that time that I would never work in the theatre again. because if a ballet dancer stops dancing for a long time, she isn't up to the required standard anymore. I said I would try it because I had nothing to lose. About a week later, he came and told me that everything was arranged, that they needed a girl for their ballet troupe in the Justinad and Labem theatre. I was very happy and started to do my exercises again to get back in shape.
I used to dance in a troupe. A lady came along one day and said that she was organising a competition and that she owned an agency which had work to offer. She was looking for professional dancers prepared to work abroad. Some of us accepted the offer. After a couple of days, we flew to Greece with a colleague, and others were supposed to arrive later. Unfortunately, we didn't have a contract. When we arrived, they told us that it was actually a go-go bar and that we had to dance in underwear and perform a striptease act that lasted for 2 songs. It was really shocking.
Any woman can become a victim of trafficking the moment she answers a fraudulent advertisement. Another possibility is that women are sold by their partners, friends, and even by their relatives from time to time. Often the traffickers are people considered to be the closest to the victims. What happens then is that personal documents are usually taken away from the woman, either by force or in a non-violent manner, and then she's forced to work, in most cases under the threat of violence or pressure of actual violence.
The prices are different. When the gangs trade girls among themselves, prices for a girl may be as little as 300 German marks. But if the trading is done within the framework of international criminal organizations, it may be, say, 3,000 marks. But they always say that the prostitute must earn that money back.
We have been trying to take preventative action since 1995, but I think that just providing information is not enough. It is just as important to educate girls to have self-esteem. I don't want this lecture to be a long monologue. No, I would like to hear from you what you think of when someone says trafficking in women. What does it make you think? Have you got any idea about what it might be like?
For instance, some girls want to become models, and when somebody offers an opportunity, they go abroad. There they find that they are not expected to parade on fashion shows, but that they're going to end up somewhere in a house of ill repute or a brothel.
I would like to be a singer.
I would like to work abroad.
I want to work abroad.
I woke up in a nightclub, in a room with a double bed and a carpet. On the whole, the room was quite luxurious. I was there with another girl who was still asleep. I woke her up, and we heard some girls' voices in the corridor. So we went out to have a look. And finally we found out where we were. It was somewhere in southern Austria, in a nightclub. We were guarded by guys who spoke Czech. They explained to us that we were there for prostitution. Somehow it transpired that barmaids were no longer required.
After a few days, he rang me up and said we were leaving. We met at the railway station. Joe arrived by car. Crossing the border was all right. He gave me my passport. We arrived in Bohemia in the evening. Joe said that we would spend the night with his friend. We arrived in some small town and stopped in front of a house. I went to a room upstairs, and there I met with Car. She was Ukrainian. She had already been in the room for some time and said she'd been promised work as a waitress.
At that moment, we had a quarrel with the owner of the company, because this was evidently a mistake and very embarrassing for us. And she told us no one could go because she had paid for our flights to Greece, and we must earn money for the return ticket. My friend refused at once, saying she was not going to do any striptease acts, and so she got work in the kitchen. And I drove to the dance hall the next night. They poured 2 double vodkas for me, dressed me and threw me onto the stage. After all, I was there on stage, so I danced, and it was over, including the striptease.
In a foreign country, women can be very vulnerable, especially if they don't know the language or their documents are forged. This makes enslavement much easier. The girls are then put in private flats and clubs, or are forced to prostitute themselves on the street. They are permanently followed and never left unsupervised.
Trafficking in women is one of the big areas of international crime, with links to others such as arms and drugs trafficking. Trafficking in people is an international crime, of course. This kind of crime is very difficult to prove. It is the victims who are the critical element in the criminal activity, and these victims are very hesitant to give evidence. There are a number of reasons for this. They're scared of the perpetrators, afraid of the shame at home. They're afraid of court proceedings which they won't understand.
I was afraid of violence. I thought they were beating those girls in order to make them work for them. I was afraid of ending up somewhere with scars and cuts. Then I began to understand the situation and began to pretend to agree. They took us to town, to a sex shop, to buy underwear. We came back. They said we'd have some time to try it on, and then they would try us, you know. I was trying to talk them round, saying that I know how to do it, that I had a child at home, and there was no need to try it out. Nevertheless, you see, it happened.
Ka woke me up in the morning. She was sobbing and saying that we were locked in the room. So we waited for a while. It seemed strange to me too. Then we started pounding on the door and shouting. But there was no answer. We tried calling from the window, but there was only a field and forest far away. In the evening, 2 men came and said to us directly that we should work as prostitutes. We didn't agree. They said, think it over. I was shivering, and Ka started sobbing again. They left and locked us in again. Both of us said we were not going to do this. And they said if we couldn't decide, they would have to decide for us instead. They only left water there for us. And they must have put some drug into it, or something. I then woke up in some terrible, dirty, cramped loft. I was alone there. I didn't know what happened to Ka. Then one of those men came and said that Ka had changed her mind and is okay now, and that I should be reasonable too. Then another man came and they raped me. Before that, they poured some alcohol into me and then left me alone again with only some water. And so it went on for 2 weeks. I felt like I couldn't stand it anymore. I felt like a rag. You don't care about anything when you get that far.
Okay, let's think now. What would show you that somebody has violated your rights, that someone's crossed that line?
I think that violating human rights should be linked with being psychologically or physically maltreated. Simply when I start to disagree with the treatment, then it becomes a violation of my rights.
Imagine a girl who travels abroad to take an au pair job, to look after children in a family. Once she had crossed the border, they take away her passport, take her to some room, take away her clothes, tie her naked to an iron bed, and 8 men keep raping her, maybe 5 times. They burn her with a cigarette, cut her with a knife, and beat her. The woman is totally exhausted. They give her no food. Their aim is to break her will to the extent that she won't even try to escape.
I would like to be a model because it interests me.
I'd like to work abroad.
In the end, I agreed, saying to myself that if I agreed, perhaps there would be a better chance to escape. Immediately, they moved me to another room. My first customer was German. They probably put some drug in my drink again, because I didn't care about anything. Anyway, it was not that terrible, after all the things that those men did to me before. But the customer probably was dissatisfied, because they beat me again and raped me, and told me that I must be nice to the customers. I had to have sex with 2 other men that night.
Luckily, I got to the phone in a narrow corridor where there was nobody. So I quickly contacted my boyfriend in Czechia, told him what had happened, where I was, that I would tell him everything when we met again. And I told him to bring his friend who had a gun, a legal and certified gun, and to take me away. It seemed that those bodyguards were armed, so that if he came alone, it would be very difficult to get out of here. So my boyfriend came to get me with his friend. And that's how I got back here.
There was a big police raid in Greece. They cleaned out about 20 businesses, sex salons, massage parlours, go-go bars. All over Greece there was a crackdown. Mostly it was businesses where owners did not pay any compensation for girls they had working without permission. They drove us to the police station, where about 150 girls were gathered. They herded us into the cells and threatened us by saying we would get 5 years prison for prostitution.
90% of all prostitutes are trafficked. There is always some pressure from outside, which means that somebody has forced her into it, coaxed, seduced. Or there is a very difficult social situation, which the girls are unable to handle, and so they start to prostitute themselves.
Countries where there is economic hardship are also among those more exposed to trafficking in women, as are countries where women's rights education is not strong, or in fact is totally absent.
It was totally impossible to go out. The customers had to ring the bell 3 times in order to be let in, or they agreed through a mobile phone. Nobody else was allowed in, and we were not allowed out either. It all lasted about 4 months. I had up to 8 customers a day. I don't even want to count at all. Then the police came. It was in the morning. First they led away the men, and then they took us. We spent a horribly long time at the police station where they interrogated us. Now I'm actually waiting for the trial. I'm supposed to be a witness there. Then I can return home. I don't even have a residence permit here in Czechia.
Because these women have no right to any support from the government, we're trying to cover their basic social needs. So what we do is cover their lodging, their food, their clothes, and we also arrange their medical care. This is an area where we totally stand in for the state. We help the women.
I think nothing will ever be the same as before. I'm afraid of footsteps behind the door, every sound. I still have scars on my legs where they put out their cigarettes.
Much of your success depends on how self-confident and self-assured you are. The way you think about yourself and your relationship with your body is very important.
Good morning. I'm responding to your advertisement. Are you still looking for an au pair?